When I was told the title of the show, several pieces popped into my head. I came into this a little bit towards the end, but these two images especially because they at least struck the most visual idea of what the theme of the show was. Although I think sometimes in expressing art or trying to express a feeling, the indirect is just as important as the direct. I was speaking to Todd earlier, and when I was searching for these, I have thousands of photographs, of course, and I came across a picture of a puppy that I had when I first got out of college, because I'd always wanted a dog when I was a kid and never had one. And so when I got into my first house, I bought a dog, and I'd taken her down to the mall and taken pictures of her running around on the grass. And when I found the picture and I came across it and looked at it, it almost made me cry. And not in the fact that I lost the, that I missed the dog. It was just, it just brought back such an emotion. And that's one of the things I try to capture in the artwork that I do. Most of the stuff I've been doing lately has been live entertainment, which shooting bands and doing big festivals and events and stuff like that. But I love shooting black and white, and I love capturing an image. To me, I started drawing when I was a child, probably like 2 or 3, and not stick figures like people and horses and animals. And then I got into painting and stuff, and my mother used to tell me that she had to give me books to draw on because I'd draw on everything else if she didn't. And so I've always been fascinated with art and the visual, and I have to credit my parents to a lot of that because they exposed me to a lot of art as a young child through museums and movies and plays. And I believe all of that has an effect on the way that I create my art. And I was exposed to a lot of music, and I think that's one of the reasons why I played in bands and why I photographed bands a lot. But just a simple fact, I think photography gives you an opportunity to capture an image, and what you want to do is hopefully convey the same emotional feeling, at least for me, convey the same emotional feeling that you had at that particular moment, to be able to share that with somebody else. And you're not going to get the exact, they're not going to get the exact feeling that you did when you did it, because everybody's life is different, but you hope to invoke the same kind of, you want to get the same kind of feeling, or you want them to have their own, personal feeling that will connect them to the piece. And it could be pleasure or it could be pain. Just these two particular pieces, to be really funny, as I was speaking earlier, I've been shooting digital so much lately because everybody wants everything tomorrow. They want it immediately. And both of these images are probably at least 10 years old, and they were both shot with film. And the top piece are actually 2 friends of mine. The female was a model and a really close family friend, and I used to shoot a lot of fashion stuff with her, and I wanted to do some light study, and she had actually wanted some pictures of her and her boyfriend, and we got together, and that's how I created that piece. And the bottom one, I don't know if many of you are familiar with DC, but DuPont Circle, they used to give a lot of free shows, bands would play. And I was down there one day, and actually I was working with a band that was playing. And the 2 gentlemen on the table, they used to have those concrete chess tables. And the one gentleman was a courier, or he was bike riding or skateboarding or something. He had fallen and hurt his shoulder. And so the 2 of them climbed up on the table, and you can't see, there was another gentleman here who had initially started massaging him and trying to get his shoulder back in place, and his boyfriend, the other gentleman, was comforting him. And I just happened to see it from across the circle, and it just struck something emotional with me. And I walked over, and when they were taking a break, I said, "Do you mind if I take a picture?" And they said no, and I captured that one. And there are you know, just as emotional as these are with me, there are other images that I have that actually, I mean, especially in bands and stuff, there are particular shots that I love that just when I look at them, they remind me of that specific moment, that concert, that emotional high that I was on at that moment. And I think that's what I love about photography. I think I actually got started into it when I was a kid. My dad had a camera, and he used to take family pictures. We'd go on trips, and I always wanted to play with it, and it was expensive. His camera was, and the first camera he bought me was one of those little 110 Instamatic, the long little rectangular ones. You push the button, and I guess kind of learned after from shooting for a while that, you know, it was always neat to, you know, I'd have people would say, oh, remember when we did this, and when we did this, and I said, oh, well, I was taking pictures, I have this. And it just became a great way to record not only other people's lives, but my life and my life, my own. And I've been fortunate. My dad was in the military, so I've traveled around in other countries and been all around the United States, and I've gotten an opportunity to photograph a lot of stuff. And I think all of that comes into play in any type of art that you do. But it is a hard career. Sometimes I've been able to fully support myself, and other times I have not, doing just the artwork. And sometimes, as some people here seem to have as much experience as old as I am, which is really great because I learned from everything that I saw in magazines and I read as a child, and I think all of that affected my artwork. And even to this day, I still I shoot a lot of, when I do fashion or body study stuff. I do work for different websites, and a lot of it is most of it is to evoke some kind of either sexual or just a creative or some kind of passionate feeling from images. And if you give me just a second, I'll grab a picture. As opposed to the top one where they're completely nude, I honestly believe a lot of times when you're photographing people like that, when they say when you can't see the whole body, it's just as interesting as it's more enticing than if you can actually see the person's full figure. And I think that's one of the reasons why that particular image is interesting, is because you can't see everything. It leaves a lot to the imagination for people to look at. This is just an example of, it's in this image, and it evokes a particular emotion to you, but although she is nude, you can't really tell underneath. And I think it's just the pose, and it's hard to, she stated earlier that almost anybody, excuse me, could, everybody today can photograph. Everybody today has a camera, and people can take pictures, and people always say, well, how do you take such great pictures? And I don't have what you would call a full formal education with photography. I studied architecture and commercial art in college. But there is, I think, you can teach a person how to take a good photograph and how to compose an image, but there is a certain skill in seeing something. And I always tell people, a lot of people go through life and they look at everything around them, but they don't actually see everything that's around them. And a lot of times if I'm walking with friends of mine and I have my camera, which is pretty often, and I'll stop for no reason at all because something has caught my eye. You know, it could be a wrought iron gate or something, and I'll snap the picture, and people will go, I didn't even see that, you know. And I just think that it's a way, all of these are images that give people an opportunity to see something that they might have just walked right past, or something that they may not ever get an opportunity to see. And I think that's why I love to do what I do, because I like for people to see, you know, I like to bring something new to people, and and I like to evoke that emotion.